Puro fake. Oh my god. I didn't see that was there.
You just got wrecked.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Thursday. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are having a great week so far. We are one step closer to the weekend. Now, having a look at what's going on with Bitcoin, it wasn't exactly the greatest chart to wake up to this morning. Bitcoin is actually down 1.32%. It was below $8,600 when I woke up today. So let's talk about what is going on with the Bitcoin price, because my video yesterday basically was saying, if you guys watched it, that there's a lot of Bitcoin bears calling for a bigger price flush. Now, these are not my words. These are just what I'm seeing out in the community. There's a lot of bearish sentiment. Most people, if you ask right now, are basically saying the price is going to fall, right? All of the crypto Twitter accounts are saying price has to go lower. All the YouTube videos are bearish. Literally, as we speak right now, the price is trying to push lower. So I really want to talk about this right now and ask the question, are we maybe a little too bearish right now? No, I'm not saying that we couldn't fall a little bit lower. In fact, I do have my eyes on some key levels. You can see right now, we are trying to push lower as we speak, but I want to show you kind of my take on what I think based on just, my very short experience, dealing with markets. However, I have been looking at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for well over 2.5 years, almost 3 years now. So you kind of start to notice some patterns after a while. And I wanted to sort of discuss that with you guys today. One other thing I wanted to talk about too is there's one particular analyst out here calling for Bitcoin to go to zero. Bitcoin is not going to go to zero, guys. I just don't even see that possible whatsoever. And we also had the fact that Mark Yusko came out and said you are better off getting into Bitcoin than you are into some of these tech stocks, which are seeing pretty much all-time highs right now. And, do you really want to buy at the all-time high? We're going to talk about that. And I also want to discuss one other sort of situation that I've been hearing a lot of people talk about, which is altcoin trading versus Bitcoin hodling versus, using something like leverage, which is very risky and very dangerous for, inexperienced traders. So want to kind of talk about all that today, where the space is going, where I see sort of, tokenization, blockchain, futures trading, institution, derivatives, all of that. I'm going to pack it into a super quick episode today. And if that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we do this every single day. Bull market, bear market, weekend, holiday, doesn't really matter. That being said, also don't forget that every Monday is the Ledger Nano S hardware wallet giveaway. All you got to do is drop a comment on any video throughout the course of the week and you are eligible. And as you guys know, I do believe that keeping your cryptos off of exchanges is very important. Remember, not your keys, not your coins. Now you see right here, Bitcoin is down about 1%. Bitcoin dominance down 0.1%. But despite all the sideways, bearish sentiment, etc., Bitcoin dominance has actually held pretty damn well at this level, which I do consider to be pretty positive. You can see we do have some altcoins still today taking off. Unicoin, that is very low volume. Don't even touch that, guys. Zella, Crypto.com actually have some news at the end about them. VeChain, Basic Attention, Bytecoin, Centrality, Chainlink, Synthetics, Tezos, Steam. So we do have some altcoins putting in some gains today. Still extremely low volume. You can see even Tether, is down here. Tether's actually sitting at 0.99 cents, 563 million. Abysmal volume, guys. You can see right here, we do have the shorts up 52%. So, like I said, it's bearish. A little bit of buying over here on Bitfinex.
Come, join us, learn about the cryptocurrency. साथ में बोलेंगे, मैं बोलूंगा BCC, you speak Jindabad, okay? Yeah. BCC! BCC! BCC!
But you can see essentially that the shorts are up. So could we be looking for a short squeeze? Possibly. Having a look over here, you do notice the fear and greed has actually moved up a bit. I'm not really taking this really too seriously right now. Remember, the fear and greed was putting in some really crazy numbers that really didn't have any sense with the markets a few months ago. But having a look right here, essentially, we are well below the 200 exponential. That is this pink line right here. And, granted, we haven't had a sort of cross on this just yet, like we did where we were in the red cloud. But that being said, we are sitting below the line. So that is kind of bearish. Now, you are noticing, having a look at this pennant, we are sitting towards the bottom. But you notice that we didn't actually touch the bottom, which would have actually been around that $8,533 level. Instead, we actually only wicked down to about that 8.6 level. Now, why did we stop right here? Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because you can see essentially there's two things right now that are trying to support Bitcoin. Number one being the continuation of this purple trend. Now, if you're wondering where I got that from, essentially, if we go way back here, these are the trends that were both acting as resistance and support right here during the absolute bottom of the bear before we started to actually regain some of that bullish momentum again for Bitcoin, right? And it was right before that massive pop when we hit the 5.8K level, right? So that is one bit of support that we're seeing currently. The other bit that we're seeing right here is the top of these two candles. But that being said, you will notice that there is a lot of support right there, right? So that is what I basically wanted to mention. But if we do go from the top of the wick, I do want to point out that we are sort of reaching this. It's not really the apex, but it is a resistance hitting a support right here. So you have this right here where we were supported before this fake out bear trap, and we are being held down by this resistance. Now you can see right here, there's only one more day of activity. And if I zoom into this, you could see that we basically wicked to the absolute top and the absolute bottom, showing that currently Bitcoin is maintaining within this trend right here. Now having a look, we are sitting below the 55 EMA on the daily. This is bearish, okay? This is exactly the point that we had our hesitation whether or not we were going to continue the pump on October 25th. Finally, we broke above it. It did provide some nice support until it didn't. Now, I want to talk about what one analyst, Philp. Now, Philp has had a pretty amazing prediction as far as where he thought the markets were going to go. In fact, pretty much since July of this year, he's been respectively accurate. In fact, he was almost a little bit too bearish in a way. But as far as the tops were concerned, I do have to give him credit. He did pretty well. But he did warn that there's a potential for shorting Bitcoin now. He says, looks like we need to go lower, getting signs to flip short, but waiting on candle closes. So according to some analysts, as well as traditionally accurate stock to flow model, if you guys know Plan B, 100 trillion, right? Basically, the stock to flow shows that Bitcoin should actually be kind of around $8,300. So even though we did hit 14K and we have pulled back, believe it or not, staying around the $8,300 level is actually not bearish, because according to stock to flow, that's kind of where we should be. Like I said, maybe we just got ahead of ourselves, right? This is actually the EMA 50 and the 200. And the reason that I wanted to show you this, and actually this is not fully accurate because Brave New Coin, BLX doesn't update right away. We actually are sitting below the 200, which you can see right here is actually closer to about 8,700. But the point being, essentially, this is another one of those where obviously, when we are, sitting above it or we've put in a golden cross, it is obviously acting as support and resistance throughout the bear market. Well, currently, I just want to point out that we did put a golden cross right around here, right around April 26th. And look at this. As we were attempting to put in a death cross right here, basically the day before the massive pump, you can see Bitcoin instantly turned around, pumped, and actually caused the, moving averages to start separating. Now, yes, they are starting to converge again, but the point I'm trying to make is that this shows that the bulls literally were defending the line, okay? That's why right now is a really interesting time for Bitcoin. It's very bull versus bear. Neither of them are really taking the upper hand right now, but, eventually one of the two sides is going to get tired, and I do think that the resistance will push down in the end, which would not be good for price, obviously. Be good if you're accumulating, right? Now, I do want to talk about something positive, right? We are potentially looking to put in a golden cross over here. Actually, if I extend the 100 and the 50 on the weekly, this is just sort of me drawing it. It does look like we would want to probably put in the golden cross around the week of November 25th. So you may actually see a wick down and then an instant wick up, which is actually what I'm kind of anticipating. And I want to sort of show you what's happening right now. You see, basically, we have this resistance right here, okay, that was holding us down during the entire descending triangle. And now that actual resistance, you could see, has been flipped to support our channel, right? But right here, the previous support has now become resistance. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my words today. But essentially, you could see basically resistance flipped support flipped resistance, okay? And that is exactly why Bitcoin is now going the opposite way of, basically the way that I'm sure most of us want it to go. Now, I do expect us to still have a massive blast off. What I think could happen is something like where we had here, where we basically bounced, we kept touching touching this level right around the, it was around the 7.8K, 7.7 level. We hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And finally, the last time we fell. But look, we wicked down for one day. We stayed here for another and then had that instant pump back up. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something right here where we actually fall below, the $8,591 level, wick down real quick to maybe some of these levels like 8.2 or 8.3, and then instantly get pulled back up, maybe even faster than we did back here, since this is a smaller pattern. You could see a wick on the 4-hour go all the way down to 8.2K, even 8,000, and instantly get wicked back up. And you could see right here, those levels are very possible. For example, this level, 8.3K, is very possible. We could get supported in this upwards trend as well. Okay, so that's why I'm saying what I'm actually anticipating, if we do break down, is a very fast wick, instant pullback, what are you going to call blast off, right? And that is what I'm expecting. So what I've actually done, just to be safe, and like I said, guys, I do recommend if you are trading like on Bybit or something to have 2 different accounts so that you can have sort of swing and scalp trades. If you're doing that, keep in mind, it is very dangerous, and we're going to get into that in just a second, but I actually have an order down here. I don't remember exactly where I put it, but it's down in the low 8.4K region because I'm hoping that if we do have a quick wick, that my limit order will get bought up, okay? And even if we do fall a little bit lower, I don't care because I'm not using super high leverage, so I'm really not worried about getting liquidated. And by the way, there's absolutely no reason why anyone should be getting liquidated, okay? There's just really no excuse for it. But I know we all want to try our 100x once, right? So once again, just having a point right here, even if we go from the wicks, okay, just the absolute wick to wick, we are still providing support, and currently we are sitting above the 8.558 level. Like I said, guys, we could have that quick wick down here to about the 8.3, and if we fall lower than that, and this is like, I just want to be totally realistic because I know people are like, oh, you're just too bullish, K-Dub. Fine. The ultimate bearish level for me, short term, essentially would be going below the 7,984, because that is basically all of this major accumulation right here. And, if we fall below that, I mean, yes, technically we did down here really quick for that trap, but notice we only stayed down there for one day. Literally, like we dumped, we stayed there for a day, and then we pumped. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, if we go down here and we start putting in some lower levels, then it's just basically putting in lower highs and lower lows, and that would not be good. However, even if we were to fall down to the 8K level, which is like ultimately crazy to fall to 8K, look at this, we would still be putting in a higher low because we had this low here, and we'd be putting in a higher low here, and that would actually still keep the trend intact. So essentially, that is what I'm looking at, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you think that, we're already trying to have a little bit of a bounce back here, but we already had that this morning and got rejected. So, like I said, very difficult times. Let me know what you guys are doing. But I definitely wanted to talk about a few things moving on. Now, number one is the fact that Morgan Creek Capital CEO Mark Yusko, you might be familiar with him, he actually made a speech at the Digital Asset Summit, and he pretty much said, sell your Amazon shares and buy Bitcoin. He argued that Bitcoin is the next groundbreaking technology and that it's currently the greatest wealth creation opportunity there is. He says the genie is not going back into the bottle, it's coming. The great news about that is it's going to create the greatest wealth in the history of mankind. If you are patient, if you can actually hodl, if you can dollar cost average, and if you can stop panic selling, especially, if you're leverage trading and using really high leverage, okay? Don't get wrecked. But ultimately, we know that dollar cost averaging has been your friend. But hey, guys, it's totally cool because Jerome Powell officially came out and said, guys, don't worry. We have a totally new normal and everything's fine. So this is what he actually had to say. Let me play this clip for you super quick.
I think the new normal now is lower interest rates, lower inflation, probably lower growth. And you're seeing that all over the world, not just in the United States. You're seeing it to a much greater extent in many parts of the world than we're seeing it here.
Right. So basically kind of the idea of sort of what Bitcoin is trying to do, which is to be deflationary by nature. But he's not saying we should become deflationary. He's saying we should just kind of cool off on the inflation and the rates a little bit. Well, the debt clock is still counting endlessly. We're never going to get out of this $23 trillion worth of debt ever. I don't even know why we're still keeping track at this point. The whole system is just completely crazy and bonkers with what they're doing. And now it's like, oh, you know what? This is the new norm. There's still going to be inflation, but just not as much inflation. It's like, okay, Jerome, okay. But here's the situation. So you have essentially Dr. Pavel. Now, this is one of those articles where I don't even know why I'm really bringing this up, but essentially I just want to just talk about it because, he's saying that Bitcoin could crash to zero. Crash to zero in the event of mass adoption by institutions. That is ridiculous. First of all, it's impossible for Bitcoin to crash to zero, literally, because somebody would be left holding the bags. You understand? Like, even when BitConnect crashed, it still had a price, right? Because there was no one left to sell it to. Not comparing Bitcoin to BitConnect, just wanted to point that out first of all. He goes on to say, essentially, that Bitcoin is censorship-resistant money, the first in the world. I don't believe in institutional adoption. If this happens, Bitcoin will become not censorship-resistant, then it won't have the feature anymore and will crash to zero. I disagree with this. It doesn't matter how much institutions, adopt it. It doesn't matter if governments try to regulate it, if governments try to ban it. Yes, you can have as many paper Bitcoin you want, as much futures and derivatives. Fine. But you still can't stop me from sending Bitcoin to you or you to sending it to me, right? There's no way to stop anyone from sending Bitcoin anywhere in the world. Sure, you can slap them on the wrist, try to throw them in jail, give them a fine. You still can't stop them from doing it though, right? So that being said, I don't think that this is going to affect it as much. And scrolling down here, he says that he thinks that Bitcoin needs more privacy features. Well, actually, there are a lot of people that are currently working on privacy features for Bitcoin. However, do keep in mind that the whole idea about Bitcoin wasn't necessarily to be private. It was pseudo-anonymous, but the whole idea is to have a ledger where everything is accounted for. If I asked you right now, how many dollars are there in the US? How many dollars, like actual just dollar bills, are there floating around? I couldn't even tell you myself. No idea, but I can tell you there's 21 million Bitcoin, right? So, having a look, I understand things like this, back 261, a little bit low today. So he's saying that, things like this are bad. But actually having a look, you do notice that there's been a very large shift recently, right? Now last year, and this is a hot topic, and I do want to talk about this today. So last year, the year before, very altcoin driven, right? It was all about altcoin trading. We're on Binance. We were even using things like, 3 commas, right? Using bots to trade our altcoins back and forth. And that was essentially how we were trying to make our profits. Well, that is not working this time around. You could see 24-hour crypto derivative volumes are absolutely booming. OKX 2.1. Now, I don't know if these are all, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know how much of this is 100% accurate, but regardless, you could see even Bybit putting in, 500 million, Binance 694, BitMEX obviously 1.8. So the community has obviously turned to derivatives trading and gotten away from altcoins, right? Now, it's not like one person came out and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. No, the reality is that a lot of altcoins are in fact just very illiquid for bigger institutions. Sure, for smaller traders, altcoins are fine. But if you're a whale and you're coming in and you're trying to buy up a bunch of a lower cap altcoin, first of all, you can't, okay? There's not enough liquidity. You will literally either just completely wreck or just pump the order book, and most likely you'll end up buying way too high. And then don't forget when you actually try to go sell the damn thing, right? But I know what you're probably saying, K-Dub, the altcoins are doing great. Look at them. They've bottomed out and they're, starting to trend up. Yes, they are, but, let's zoom out here a bit and have a look at the altcoin market from top to bottom. And I know what you're saying. Bitcoin is down about 54%. Okay, yeah, that doesn't look great on paper, but the majority of altcoins are down almost 85%. Almost 85%, guys, and that is basically the majority of all of the altcoins out there. I wanted to actually point out this post that Willy Woo made, and he said CoinMarketCap lists 4,978 coins. Here's the top 50 by volume. Below the top 40 doesn't even register, i.e. 4,938 coins are illiquid. Investors want liquidity at entry and liquidity on exit. Very few coins have credible liquidity to be good investments. You can see right here. In fact, that's why Bybit only chooses to, use either Bitcoin, Ethereum, EOS, or XRP, because those are some of the highest when it comes to liquidity. And that's actually what traders are demanding. It's not like they just arbitrarily came up with this, these 4 coins and were like, oh, no, that's actually where the liquidity is, right? So when you have a look at something like this, it does make you realize that so much has changed. In fact, there was an article I don't have it pulled up right now, that was talking about the illiquidity, essentially in the markets. And, you know, speaking about tokens and speculation, now I want to talk about a project that's been doing quite well. VeChain, right? VeChain, they've had very, very good news that's come out lately. They served President Z some blockchain beef or something like that, right? Well, speaking at the panel at Blockchain Asia 2019, VeChain founder Sunny Liu suggested that token value is mostly arbitrary. He says 99% of a token's value is linked to speculation and not to the value that solution can bring to society. This causes many startups to waste a lot of time producing and selling the token, failing to develop solutions for where they were initially focused. Now, I'm not bashing altcoins. I hold altcoins, but there's a reason that I shifted primarily to Bitcoin on this channel. Had I been talking about altcoins all year, okay, like some channels were, you probably would have been losing a lot of money, okay? Because most of these altcoins have been falling in value. And I think sometimes it's difficult for people to separate the nature of a project versus the investment, appeal, I suppose you could say, of a project, okay? Now, over time, you notice that dollar cost averaging is your friend. Yes, I know that we talk about trading. Yes, I know that we talk about leverage. No, I do not suggest that for everybody, guys. You know that. I mean, yes, I do have referral links. They help the channel out, but nobody should be doing anything, especially like without assessing the risk. And dollar cost averaging has been proven to be a very good way of accumulating. Look, for example, I have $500 in here. Maybe that's too high. I don't know what the average person can afford to dollar cost average, maybe like $150 a month or a week, or maybe $100 a week. I don't really know what the average person, is comfortable with. I mean, I went all in. I was literally putting my entire paycheck into Bitcoin. You should not do that. I was just one of those crazy people that was just, FOMOing into it, which it worked out for me. Luckily, I bought my first Bitcoin at 2.2K. But obviously times are a little bit different right now. But regardless, okay, 3 years ago, had you started buying, no, you know what? Let's not do 3 years ago. Let's do 1 year ago, because that's like more fair. Most people probably are newer to the space. So let's say you're doing $200 a week. 1 year ago, you would have invested $10,600, and you would, oh wait, no, this is starting 3 years ago. I'm sorry. Let's do 1 year ago. My mistake, guys. So you would have invested $10,600, and your total investment would be $15,915. You would be up 50%. Now, some people are out there like, oh, that's nothing. That's not enough. I want a 5x, a 10x, a 20x. Really? Where are you going to put your money in a bank? If you were to put $10,600 away in a bank and come back in 1 year and have $15,915, that's not good enough for you? I mean, that doesn't exist anywhere in the traditional world, okay? And I mean, you see people literally in the stock market, they're like getting super excited over like a 5%, 10%, annual gain, okay? So just wanted to kind of point that out moving forward, guys, okay? So before I get into the rest of the news today, I just wanted to cover those topics and just sort of go over the fact of like why I do think that the landscape has changed. Yes, things like derivatives are very dangerous, but it's just that as far as altcoin trading has been concerned, it hasn't really been that profitable this year, unless essentially you were just shorting most of them, right? So, we will keep our eyes on them. I am looking at altcoins. I've accumulated some. I'm waiting for the opportunity, to really have that blast off. But currently right now, I still do think that most eyes are on Bitcoin, as you can see right here. So that's enough for the rant basically for today, guys. But I did want to talk about the news that came out from crypto.com. Essentially, they are going to be launching an exchange, and they're claiming that they think it's going to be one of the top 10 exchanges within the next 5 years. So the purpose of their exchange, apart from providing a platform where you can buy and sell coins, is to help drive the mass adoption of crypto in general. The exchange is a natural extension of crypto.com's business, which will ensure that everything remains in its own ecosystem. Now, I was curious, has anybody out there actually used the crypto.com card? How is it working for you? Are you, is it good for you or what? Because as you guys can see right here, it is available in 49 out of 50 US states, and guess which one's not on the list? You want me to spell it out for you? I think we're getting a little used to this in New York. So yeah, I am the only state in the country that cannot use the crypto.com card. So Let me know how it goes. I wanted to get one, but anyway, that being said, we also have this that came out from Justin Sun. He made this over at Samsung Developers. Let's see what this is all about.
Samsung has a very large base of the customer and developer community. So come to the SDC. First of all, you can learn lots of the recent developments of the cutting edge technology. And on the second hand, you can know lots of the people, know the developer, and know the direction in the future. So that's why I think this is important to come to the SDC. I think I'm gonna come next year because we will have more collaboration with Samsung.
All right, there you have it. More collaboration with Samsung. And by the way, guys, I don't know if this is like a rumor or what, so I put this at the end of the video. Take this with the smallest little pinch of salt possible. China bans anti-blockchain sentiment as it prepares for launch of state cryptocurrency. Guys, please, is anybody from China? Can anyone verify this? So essentially, you're telling me that you are not allowed to talk about blockchain in a negative way. Yeah, or else they're going to ban you, block you, fine you. I don't know what's going on here. So that is that. And ending on one piece of news right here, this is sort of the interesting news of the day. There was a blog post that came out yesterday essentially saying that Pornhub revealed that their payment processor, being PayPal, had abruptly stopped servicing its models. Now, this isn't the first time that we've heard about PayPal just randomly shutting off people's accounts, shutting off, the ability for people to essentially get paid. They say we're all devastated by PayPal's decision to stop payments to over 100,000 performers who rely on them for their livelihoods. Well, you already know where I'm going with this. Bitcoin fixes this. So that being said, unfortunately, these centralized platforms will continue to censor who can and cannot receive and send money, or they'll start, just continue their price gouging on their remittances, right, across territories. So that's basically the situation today. Guys, I know today's video was a little bit longer. The reality is there's not really too much excitement going on with the price. I think the price is going to get really freaking exciting. And when it does, I think it's going to get crazy. And it could be very soon, but I just had a lot of different topics I wanted to go over, sort of discussing why I do believe that the market has changed, why the sentiment is a little bit different, why you are seeing more of this derivative futures type trading. And you have seen some bashing of it going around, saying like, oh, even, guys promoting it. I mean, listen, guys, the reality is at the end of the day, no one is putting a gun to your head and making you trade. No one is telling you what to do. I never tell anyone what to buy on this channel. I try my damnedest to stay as neutral as possible. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, we're just going through this journey together. I do want you guys to be safe. There are opportunities out there, but I do recommend risk management. Don't go outside of your comfort zone. And the number one strategy that I will continue to promote on this channel from pretty much day one till I'm done is dollar cost averaging, okay? So that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Let me know what you think about the current situation. What are you doing right now? Are you dollar cost averaging? Are you sitting in fiat? Are you sitting all in Bitcoin? Are you long? Are you short? Are you trading altcoins? What are you doing? I'd be very interested for you to let me know. That's it for me today. I know the video was a little bit longer than usual, kind of reminiscent of our old school videos when we used to do like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, right? But had a lot on my mind today, and that is it. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this.